Tom Peters is a wild man. In April of 1998, at the very first Friday book synopsis, I presented The Circle of Innovation by Tom Peters. It was my first actual reading of Tom Peters. He became famous slightly earlier with a book called In Search of Excellence, co-written by Bob Waterman. And I remember, believe it or not, that first presentation. And I started with a shirt and tie and a coat, and by the end of it, trying to demonstrate Tom Peters, I loosened my tie, took off my coat, rolled up my sleeves, and looked like I was sweating. This is a madman. I wrote a blog post this week, and I said Tom Peters is writing the rantings of a madman. Not mad in the sense of he's, mad. It is the practices of American business leaders are driving him insane. He thinks we're bad at what we do. And I cannot do justice to the book, so I just opened to a random page, and you can sort of see that he's wild. I mean, bold and big font and not much little print. And I read it on my Kindle app, and then I got hold of the physical copy. And oh my goodness, what a challenge to figure out how to read this book. So turn to page 2, and here we go. Why is this book worth our time? Sometimes we need an in-your-face refresher of the basics. This book is such a book. Number 2, sometimes in the midst of technological advance, we need to be reminded of the primacy of the human elements at work. That's a long sentence, underline it. The primacy of the human elements at work. This book provides the human element reminders we need. And number 3, sometimes we need a real kick in the pants. This book definitely provides that. Now, I'm going to read you the 6 takeaways, and then I want you to give me another minute. Number 1, get the basics right with yourself and with all the people. Number 6, read many, 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 many more books. All right. I woke up at 2 o'clock this morning. And I realized what I need to say in this room. You don't realize it, but the wisdom and counsel and brilliance in this room is phenomenal. Here's Dan Weston, who's sitting next to a mentor, and he and Jim Young are mentors at SMU for young students. There are women. Bronwyn Allen is in here. She has built a business from scratch, and it is, you want to study company culture, go study high profile. I'm going to run out of people to name. I mean, the people in this room have such wisdom. And you ought to come and sit and talk after it's over and meet people and schedule lunches. So I'm going to tell you something that I heard from somebody in this room right now, about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. His name is Pat Scully. I think Pat and Mary have some kind of personal exercise training coaching business. I think that's right. I hope that's right. But we ran into each other in the hall, and he said, I've been involved in a process called Kids at Hope. And he said, do you realize a name matters? He said, if we had named it Kids at Risk, they would have thought they were risky kids. But we named it Kids at Hope, and it gave them hope. There's wisdom in this room. We have gathered a group of wise people. Thank you for that. And if you want to know just how wise it is in this room, then there is a couple that misses once or twice a year, and one of them is for some lame excuse that they have to go to the TED conference. That's Carol and Jim Young. And do you realize that Jim and Carol have been, I think, at practically all the TED conferences, and the director of the TED conference happens to be their daughter? There is wisdom in this room. There is an excellence dividend in this room. Take advantage of it. Hope you found this useful. Thank you very much.